Good evening, Varunda. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, is commemorated as World Folk Tales and Fables Week. World Folk Tales and Fables Week takes place every year in US during the third week of March, and this year it will run from March 17 to 23. It's down to the individuals and groups to decide how they celebrate it, as there is no organization that is officially supporting it. This event is dedicated to encouraging everyone to explore the lessons and cultural background of folk tales, fables, and myths and legends from around the world. Much like the folk tales and fables, the holiday stands for it in the affair that has taken as far as individual is comfortable with, and but it has the greatest potential to unite people. Humans have been telling tales and fables since our species knew how to talk. Our early ancestors spent countless nights beside fires and huddled together in the dark while stories were told. These folk tales and fables are rich in cultural references and are passed down through generations. As we grew, as a civilization, so too did our stories. Myths of families and tribes from the dawn of our species have mostly been lost to time now. But the myths of ancient civilizations from around the world have lived on for hundreds of years and are still retold and remade today, often morphing as they stretch across countries and continents. If you are wondering how prevalent these stories are in our society, think about the last time you watched a show or read a book where the main character was a thief that gave to the poor, or there was an insurmountable challenge that your protagonist overcame through quick thinking and being underestimated. They are concepts that were popularized in the stories of Robin Hood and tales of Odysseus. The story of good-hearted thief originated sometime during the 13th century, and Tales of Odysseus was a story that was told from 750 BC in the West. These are folk tales from England and Greece that have persisted for centuries, have highly become popular in modern society. These all are in the Western context of US. Even in India, we see there are a lot of folk tales and tales and ancient scriptures also, and mythological scriptures, and also the past that has been told in the form of folk tales and fables week. So here it is celebrated round the year. There is no specific week dedicated, but these festivals and celebrations form an occasion for such activities. So folk tales and fables are different. Folk tales are stories that are told orally and passed down through generations, while fables are a category of folk tales that are more teaching a moral lesson than holding history. Like in India, we have Panchatantra stories. Aesop's fables are most famous collection of fables that come from ancient Greek storyteller Aesop in the West. A fable is characterized by its short length and always have a moral to be learned. An iconic example of fable is the tortoise and the hare. Experts speculate that the art of storytelling is a form of communication that is as old as language itself. We all might have experienced, we all might have learned and seen and observed how we all have been told stories by our grannies, grandpas, our parents, and relatives, friends, and so on. Roughly 65% of daily conversation consists of stories, whether it's about our frustrations or retelling of an event or just some fun anecdotes. We tell stories all the time. A study in 2008 concluded that humans are as far more engaged by the information presented as a story than as simple facts. Many of the fables and tales we cherish today are very ancient. Like in the West, they came from a book called Grimm's Fairy Tales, published in 1812, and all are recycled stories in the West. Many of the stories from Grimm's fairy tales and ancient cultures were originally far more dark and gory before being refined into more light-hearted versions. Most of us know today for general audiences. Stories have always brought people together. History, civilizations, and have built on the notion that stories we sell and tell to each other. Humans are defined by our need to create and share stories. From the books we write to the multimillion movies and shows we create for others to watch, stories are such an integral part of our culture and society as a whole that it's impossible to separate one from the other. Today is also commemorated as Doctor Patient Trust Day in US. On March 17th, the day is dedicated to the doctors who work to save lives by safeguarding the trust of their patients. Indeed, treating a patient means understanding the most personal aspects of their body and mind. People in healthcare are bound by the ethics of medical profession to never disclose personal information about their patients, and doctors are responsible for saving countries and countless lives all over the world. They are responsible for healthcare, which is one of the most important traits in our world. Without proper developments in the medical field, the human population uh, would have been reduced by more than half. So, thanks to the medical and technological advancements today, the human population crossed 8 billion on the planet, with an human population bomb exploding every second. The history of medical science dates back to the dawn of human civilization. Even before our ancestors knew about healing potential of some of the herbs, the art of healing flourished around the Iron Age and even before. In India and across the world, the oldest medicine ever known is from Vedas, that is Ayurveda, that is the first ever known medicine and medical system to the humankind. The art of healing, though recorded from Iron Age, flourished. Various civilizations in the West also, like Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Chinese, developed their medical schools, like Indians, and physicians. The development of modern medicine has resulted in an increase in the lifespan and living conditions of the people. It aided in drastically lowering infant mortality, average lifespan, death during delivery, complicated health conditions caused by common illness, and so on. Medical advancements brought doctors closer to their patients' personal lives and intimate information. The medical code of conduct requires healthcare workers to keep personal information of their patients secret. We are going through a time when healthcare is at its best, and as the healthcare improved, so did the germs and the complete complexity of diseases and health conditions. Doctors now need more and more personal information to get an accurate diagnosis of a patient's condition. But people are sensitive about their personal information, and there are instances when they withhold the information from their doctors. Trust between a doctor and patient is most important factor for the success of treatment. Doctor Patient Day, Trust Day was created to spread awareness about the ethics and code of conduct that every healthcare worker follows. It is a day to make people aware of the importance of pressing correct information to doctors. It's also a day for doctors to make sure they adhere to the latest standards for keeping the trust of patients. There should be always an open channel for proper communication between doctors and patients. A competent doctor can make us trust him or her, but it always better to have a second opinion when it comes to medicine, and hence always research the doctor through verified sources. Open communication and understanding of patient needs and desires, active listening, caring, and prioritizing patients' perspectives and circumstances can go a long way in improving doctor-patient relationship. The Declaration of Geneva describes in detail the ethical standards needed for medical workers worldwide. Take a day to read and understand the full document. Watch a surgical video online. This can help you better appreciate of the skill, effort, and hard work of medical professionals. Interview a doctor to get his or her perspective about the doctor-patient trust bond. Try to spread the interview to your friend circle for spreading awareness. Hesira is the name for chief of dentists and physicians in Egypt, and he was one of the first doctors in the world in Egypt. Sushruta is known as the father of surgery for describing and conducting surgical procedures in more than 8,800 BC back, who is the first surgeon ever known on the planet. Hippocrates is called the father of modern medicine. French Surgeon, a German scientist, developed morphine. Ayurveda is the oldest surviving form of medicine that is still exists. Today is also commemorated as Evacuation Day in Boston. So Evacuation Day is observed every year on March 17th in Suffolk County in US, including Boston, Massachusetts in the US. It celebrates the day when British troops evacuated Boston during the American Revolutionary War. Boston is the seat of Suffolk County, where various activities are held each year to commemorate the event. Evacuation Day is a day off for most people, with schools, most business closing for the day. The Dorchester Heights Monument, built from white marble, commemorates events related to evacuation day. This week is also commemorated as National AG Week, starting from March 17 today till 23rd, 2024. In United States, National Agricultural Week is celebrated every year in March on dates announced by the Agriculture Council of America. And it commences on March 17th and ends on 23rd. This week celebrates and acknowledges the agricultural industry and the role it plays in stabilizing the economy. The holiday gives thanks to the industry as a whole for being a source of abundant food, fiber, and renewable products. It also provides millions with stable jobs and careers. It also emphasizes the efforts made by those involved in agriculture for providing us with the necessities the most of us take for granted. Agriculture is the biggest food contributor in America. America is the next exporter of food, which means that this industry is a source of food and wealth. The rich history of agriculture in the US attracted colonists to the area. Since most colonists were European, the styles of agricultural cultivation and production were Europe influenced as well. Colonists also brought a large amount of livestock with them to America, which caused changes in its natural landscape. As the population grew, farms expanded and settlements moved from east into the west. This caused the agriculture industry to grow exponentially, with a larger variety of produce being rooted. Once the west was populated and cultivated, a wheat frontier was formed. The east was firmly set on cattle and livestock with only a handful of small-scale crops. On the other hand, the south was dominated by tobacco and cotton. Lastly, the north was dominated by people who planted only what they needed. Anything in excess was sold to the market. It was only during Civil War and the Second World War and that the agricultural system became centralized and a proper agricultural system was introduced. The Agriculture Council of America, formed in 1973, has supported the farmers and agricultural advancements in farming techniques in the US. It comprises influential leaders in agriculture, food, and farming who work together as a non-profit organization dedicated to educating the world on the importance of agriculture in American society. At the same time, when council was formed, the first national agriculture was also introduced, which soon developed into an entire week-long celebration. National Agriculture Week has been celebrated ever since with full enthusiasm to support agriculture and spread awareness about the potential and vitality of agriculture. Agriculture is described as a wellspring of economy. A strong and healthy agriculture system provides the food supply for the nation, but it also provides other raw material for the industry that supports the economy. It brings self-sustenance to a country. Based on the socio-economic and geographical conditions, there are two main types of agriculture: subsistence farming and commercial farming. The variants of agriculture range from being crop-oriented to livestock-oriented or adopting a mix of both. The levels at which farms operate are based upon the living standard and wealth of the farmer. While farmland may stretch far and wide, the actual percentage of US population involved in agriculture is only 1.3% or 2.6 million people. This week is also commemorated as National Animal Poison Prevention Week in US, celebrated from March 17 to 23. This week educates pet owners on what can poison their pets and how to spot the signs of poisoning and how to help pets if they exhibit such signs. This week ties into National Poison Prevention Week, which details the many dangers of spring season and how to protect humans from accidental poisoning. National Animal Poison Prevention Week runs as a part of Pet Poison Prevention Awareness Month, a larger cause to spread awareness about pet poisoning. Humans started domesticating animals long ago, probably since the cavemen walked around. Their purpose is our lives gradually underwent a shift. However, cats no longer were simple rat traps, and dogs went from hunting partners to humans' best friends. As the bond grew, so too did the knowledge that animals needed as much, if not more, care as humans did. Animal care might have been rudimentary by today's standards, but it still existed. Even the ancient Romans would spay, castrate, and even operate on their pets as a form of care. Their invasion of various lands spread this knowledge of pet care but the world still had a long way to go. Then in 1863, an American diplomat on assignment to Russia, Henry Bergh, prevented a carriage driver from beating his fallen horse. Upon returning to his hometown, New York, after his resignation, Bergh founded the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, in short known as ASPC. It became the first and only humane society in the Western Hemisphere. Owners could not get information about pet care over the internet, so ASPCA and other organizations, pamphlets, and articles came to rescue. By the 1990s, concern over animals had taken an upswing. People placed more value on the lives of animals. The next few decades saw organizers, even the Food and Drug Administration, taking more care to ensure that every aspect of pet care, pet stores, pet food, and even pet toys were safe. The ASPCA, among the other organizations, influenced legislation and legal proceedings, bringing to light animal suffering and highlighting our responsibilities in this regard. All these years later, we know now and view animal care very different. National Animal Poison Prevention Week reflects our changing view of pet care and is a special event to protect our pet buddies from accidental harm. So, brush up your knowledge on common items that can harm your pets. Check online for various sources or even talk to your veterinarian. Armed with the knowledge of what can harm your pet, go ahead and pet proof your home and immediate surroundings. You can even check local pet friendly places for plants and other things harmful to your pet. Stay away and warn others to do the same. Spread the knowledge about pet poisons to all the pet owners you know to ensure that your pet is safe from possible danger. Many common sugarless gums, candies, mints flavored multivitamins, desserts, and even baked goods might contain a sweetener called xylitol, which is toxic to dogs. Dogs like NSAIDs, acetaminophen, and antidepressants can cause serious health issues when ingested by the pets. Some flowers, like lilies, are lethal to cats. Certain types of chocolate, such as baker's chocolate and dark chocolate, are more harmful to pets than other chocolate products. Fertilizers and pest control products are other often combined with dangerous chemicals that are harmful to the pests if ingested. This week is also commemorated as National Anonymous Giving Week, starting from March 17 to 23. Sometimes people choose to donate money to their favorite causes without revealing their identities, whether for religious reasons or because they do not want to be recognized for their generosity. Even popular celebrities and philanthropists may want to remain anonymous when they make large donations. In fact, that what really matters is helping the less privileged. A gift for charity, humanitarian relief, or to benefit a cause is known as donation. Money, services, or products which, according to the Blackbird Internet Donations in the US increased by 11% in 2012. They accounted for around 7% of the total fundraising, up from 6% in 2011 and close to all-time high of 8% in 2010, when internet donating skyrocketed in reaction to the Haitian disaster relief efforts. The internet has now become the preferred first response method for donations during a catastrophes. National Anonymous Giving Week aims to highlight the importance of giving and improving the lives of others. It emphasizes acts of kindness without having to take credit of it. The world is a better place when we take the needy into account and do our part to help them get resources we enjoy. Today is also commemorated as Raymond Magsaysay Memorial Day in Philippines. Raymond Magsaysay was the seventh president of Philippines, serving from 1953 until he died in 1957. In the Philippines, the Magsaysay name is synonymous with charity, justice, integrity, and incorruptibility. Philippines so greatly revere him that the nation introduced the Raman Magsaysay Award after his death, considered the Nobel Prize for Asia. Magasses's track record as a politician, civil servant, and humanitarian is well known to all Filipinos. He is credited with bringing peace, law, and order during the Cold War. Raman Magsaysay was born on August 31st, 1907. In 1927, he joined the University of Philippines, where he studied engineering. Later, he transferred to the Institute of Commerce at Jos Rizal College and graduated with a bachelor's degree in commerce. Magsaysay worked Magassese did his best to reform Philippines, but he was frustrated by a conservative Congress that served the interest of the wealthy. He couldn't pass land reform legislation, and the government under him was indifferent to the plight of peasant Filipinos. The people still loved him, and he maintained the reputation of incorruptibility until his untimely death in a plane crash on March 17, 1957. In 1996, President Ferdinand Marcos passed Proclamation number 15 declaring March 17 as Raman Magsaysay Memorial Day. And finally, today, last commemoration of the day is American Chocolate Week, celebrated from March 17 to 23. The versatile food can be had on almost every occasion and for any meal. If anyone dares question why you are eating on entire Hershey's bar for breakfast, just tell them it's a patriotic thing to do. It will work. Trust us, after all, what better excuse to consume ungodly amounts of chocolate than a whole week dedicated? Chocolate is made from beans of the cocoa tree, which is found mainly in remote areas of West Africa, Southeast Asia, and Central and South America. Cocoa beans, however, are bitter and must be fermented to develop the flavor. After this, the beans are dried, cleaned, and roasted. The shell is removed to produce cocoa nibs, which are then grounded to cocoa mass, from which chocolate can be taken on many avatars. Today, chocolate can be found in every part of the world, with each culture having its own twist on the confection. But that's not all. Around 40 to 50 million people depend on cocoa for their livelihoods, with chocolate farmers producing 3.8 million tons of cocoa beans per year. Thank you everyone for joining us on this day. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. The feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill the feedback form before you leave the platform. So thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time, the same link on different topics. Take care. Good night.